According to the Fidelity Retiree Healthcare Cost Estimate, an average retired couple age 65 in 2022 would need approximately $315,000 saved after tax to be able to cover healthcare expenses in retirement, which is absolutely an insane number. Now, because of that, today we are going to be talking about a little thing called an HSA, which also stands for a health savings account. Now, as people live longer and healthcare cost inflation continues to outpace general inflation, it's more important than ever to prepare for such expenses and to make sure that you're protecting your financial security in those golden years, right? Retirement, we have big plans. We want to go on trips, we want to spend time with grandkids, we want to do all of these things, but a lot of that's not going to be able to happen if we are not prepared financially. And a big part of being prepared financially in retirement is having a plan for those medical expenses. So let's get into it. What exactly is an HSA? Like I mentioned, it's a type of savings account that is specifically designed to help individuals pay for healthcare expenses. Now, here's the secret sauce on HSAs and why I think they're super important and why more people should not only be talking about them, but also taking advantage of them as well. And that's because an HSA is triple tax advantaged. Yes, there are three main tax advantages to an HSA. Now, the first tax advantage is with contributions. So, let me fix that. So contributions, those go into your HSA tax-free. If contributions are made through payroll deductions, they are also not subject to Social Security or Medicare taxes, which is amazing. Then in your HSA, you can actually then take those contributions and invest them, okay? Now, once you've done that, you have tax-free growth potential, okay? You're not going to be taxed on the growth of those contributions that you've now invested. And last is withdrawals. So when you hit your golden years and you're ready to start using these funds, if you pull out money for a qualified medical expense, you are also not going to incur taxes, okay? So all of these things together give you that triple advantage, which is just incredible. I mean, this is definitely something to be looking into and taking advantage of. Now, it's important to note, due to regulations from the IRS, you can open and contribute to an HSA only if you are enrolled in what is called a high deductible health plan, okay? This is also sometimes just called an HDHP, but that is obviously what it stands for. Now, you can also enroll in a plan through the Affordable Care Act. Now, the reason you have to be enrolled in a high deductible health plan is that these plans tend to have relatively low premiums and higher out-of-pocket expenses. And so the whole point is that when you incur those higher out-of-pocket expenses, you have the HSA available to help offset that, okay, and lower that out-of-pocket price that you're paying. Now, as I mentioned, an HSA is just another place for you to save for retirement, okay? So if you're already contributing to a 401k or you have a SEP IRA, a Roth IRA, traditional IRA, any of those other accounts, I would encourage you to then look into an HSA, because the other cool thing about these funds is that they remain in your account from year to year, even if they aren't spent. So you retain ownership of the account. Also, if you leave your current employer, you switch employers, like that money is always yours. There's no use it or lose it mentality with the HSA. Additionally, there are never any required minimum distributions like you would find with something like a Roth IRA. Okay, so it's an incredible account that I just don't think we are talking about enough. So, like I mentioned, because you can have that account forever. You always retain the ownership and you can invest the contributions to that account. Any investment earnings in your HSA have the potential to grow for decades, okay? That effectively makes it an extra retirement fund for you, in addition to those 401ks and IRAs that you also have. Now, keep in mind, if you switch from a high deductible health plan, which we just talked about, to another type of health plan like an HMO or a PPO, you will not be able to contribute any more to your HSA until you are once again covered by a high deductible health plan, okay? Now, you can still use the money in your HSA that you had previously contributed for qualified medical expenses, but again, you can't contribute new money to it unless you're on a high deductible health plan. So, what are the amounts of money that you can contribute? Well, it does change from year to year, but in 2023, we will talk about the amounts. So, similar to a Roth IRA, you can contribute to your HSA for 2023 up until tax day in April of 2024, okay? Now, if you are a single individual, you can contribute $3,850 to an HSA this year. If you are a family, that amount is obviously higher, and that comes out to $7,750 for the year. Now, keep in mind, if you are 55 and older, you can also save an additional $1,000 as a catch-up contribution to your HSA for this year, okay? So keep all of that in mind. Now, to quickly recap the top 8 benefits of an HSA, okay? The tax advantages, right? It's triple tax advantaged, which is, again, incredible. You have flexibility, okay? So that money, it belongs to you. It can be used for qualified medical expenses at any time, okay? So you do have to keep your receipts, okay? If you incur a bill next week for $50, get the receipt. If you choose to pay out of pocket, that's fine. You can do that now, and then 40 years from now in retirement, if you still have that $50 receipt that you can show, you can then pull that money out later, okay? So lots of flexibility, which is really cool. Then you also have the portability, right? You are never going to lose this money. It's yours no matter if you change your employers, if you change to a different type of health plan, that money is always yours. Again, number 4, savings. This is huge. It can be used for future medical expenses, including ones that are not covered by insurance. Number 5, control. You have control over your healthcare expenses. You can decide how you use the money in the account. You can use it now, you can use it later. It's up to you. It's in your control. Number 6, long-term savings. Remember, unlike a flexible spending account, which requires you to use up the balance in the account by the end of the year or you lose that money, money in your HSA can be rolled over to the next year, okay? It's always yours. It's never going to go away. Also, it's cost effective. Number 7, when paired with a high deductible health plan, this can be a very cost effective way to manage your healthcare expenses, as those HDHPs, as we talked about, typically have lower monthly premiums than other kinds of health plans. And then last, I know I've already mentioned this, but I do want to make sure that I specifically mention it as its own benefit to an HSA, is that there is no use it or lose it, okay? Keep that in mind. That money is always there for you to use, and it's never going to go away from one calendar year to the next. It's going to roll over, it's going to keep building, and you have the access to that when you need it in those later years of life, okay? So that's a health savings account intro. There's lots of really good information online if you want to dig into this further, but I would, as step 1, encourage you to check with your HR department at open enrollment time and see if this is something that you can get added to your account at work if you have a high deductible health plan. So, hope this was helpful. Hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time.